This is the Slots and Sockets Podcast, episode number 83, and I am one of your hosts, IRD Moose, and my partner in crime,
Arc Penguin.
Happy Monday, Arc Penguin.
I know. It's interesting. I was Battlefield Penguin and now I'm Arc Penguin because that game's addictive, man.
Yeah.
Yes, highly recommended.
Yeah, it's not my cup of tea, but yeah, well, maybe when it's on a Steam sale, we'll pick it up and see how it does on my new Steam Deck, which, according to AMD, does, but doesn't, but does, but doesn't, but we have no idea what they're doing. It is going to be getting driver updates coming up.
You know, it is AMD. If they can't figure out how to do marketing and you know how they do support, like it's just comically how bad this is.
Yeah,
because you know it's instantly like, who on their bright mind is like, you know what, we're just gonna stop supporting RDNA 1 and 2.
mm-hmm.
And who thought it was like, yeah, it's a good idea? Because the honest truth is that these are things that are, I mean, 5,000 and 6,000 series. These are the people that jumped on board, bought cards, and really are kind of fighting against, you know, the masses of NVIDIA.
Yep.
Because, you know, the number of people that buy AMD to NVIDIA are skewed heavily one way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't understand why they thought that, like, is there really a ton of savings between by supporting RDNA, like the 5,000 and 6,000 series? I would make the argument that 6,000 series was the one that really kind of put them at least in the playing field, you know, and really kind of got people thinking that maybe that they had something that they could play games with.
It was their first card in a very long time,
right?
Yeah, it really was. It was Radeon Zen moment. But yeah, I mean, what am I supposed to tell my friend that I gave my 6900 XT to now? Like, sorry, bro, you don't get driver updates. I mean, you've only had the card for 6 months, but
I mean, the problem that I have here is that it's so skewed that to the other side of what NVIDIA does.
Mm-hmm.
It's upsetting because you know, the one thing that NVIDIA does, well, NVIDIA does some things really well.
Yep.
And one of the things they've done very well is supporting graphics cards for a long time.
Yeah. Well, the drivers may not be great, but they at least have drivers.
Yes, they at least, and the notion is that even on the 10 series cards, you had, you know, game ready drivers for 10 series drivers 7 years after these things came out.
Yep.
And that's what I just don't understand is that they sit there and they look at this and how they're like, you know, NVIDIA does it for 7. Let's see if we can get away with 3.
Yeah.
Because the honest truth is like the 6900 XT, I mean, they're wanting to drop
in 2021, end of 21, right?
Let's see.
Because I think my major concern is
2020, October of 2020.
So 5 years. But still, that's only 2 generations back. AMD and NVIDIA both really slowed up their generational development. And so, you know, I don't think it's unreasonable to ask them to support things 3 or even 4 generations back. Because, you know, from the 1080 Ti, we've got the RTX 2000 series, we got the RTX 3000, 4000, now 5000. That's the 1080 is, you know,
1080 goes back to
5 generations
2016.
back. Yeah.
2080 goes back to 2016.
Yeah.
I,
And
you know, I
so,
just it's upsetting. It's
yeah.
really upsetting, and um, the problem is that even if you read their their double responses, so
Yeah.
basically what happened was is on I think it was like Wednesday or Thursday, the driver drops. Okay, so driver comes out and the patch notes, and by Friday you'd already had a couple of YouTube people. Hardware in a Box had a big one, basically like giving the middle finger to RDNA 1 and 2 people,
Hmm.
and AMD responded. I think they also had a response to, I think, you know Tom's Hardware, and it wasn't much of a response. In fact, it wasn't a response. It was a rewording of them trying to spin it. And then Hardware Unboxed, I think that after that released something, and a couple of other tech tubers basically dropped notes and were like, "This is absolute BS." And then on Sunday they were like, "Ooh, this isn't looking good," and so they dropped another update clarifying the clarification, and basically we're like, everyone's just a little confused. Like, yeah, we're confused because you guys said stupid stuff and then unsaid stupid stuff, but didn't say it in such a clean way that we all think you're still doing stupid stuff. And in all honesty, if you read the releases, you realize that they didn't go back and say that they were going to support it. They said that there was going to be differing paths and that they would have different release times. So what they're allowing them to do is to have 0-day support for RDNA 4 and 5,
Hmm.
and then when the market tells them to do it, because the other thing is in the second one they're like, well, it's what the market dictates.
Yeah.
Okay, so if that means that I'm playing a game that nobody that few other people will care about and don't isn't on the top 10 of Steam's chart, does that mean I don't get updates?
Yep. That's what it sounds like to me.
And that's like 100 of what it sounds like. And AMD would be very, very smart to come out and say, you know what, we effed up, we screwed up, it's wrong. And those who made these decisions have been put in their place so that we don't have this. Let's say, but this is what we're doing long term. And what they should do is they should come out and say, for a graphics, any graphics card, we're going to support it with drivers a minimum of however long it goes.
Yeah.
Say 7 years, just be like, or say 9 years,
Yeah.
and say, we're going to give you support. And then you just there and say, you know what? How many freaking millions of dollars you make in video cards, make support for older drivers for X number of years,
Yep.
and then maintain, and then put it in maintenance mode, right? Where you get security updates. And if you've got a card that just doesn't work, like it's bricked, then you sit there and say, okay, we'll support it and give you a driver update where it needs it.
Yeah.
But we're not gonna just you know because like from their perspective, they do need to limit how long you do support for.
Yeah, and they
So
potentially need to limit it more than Nvidia does because, they're not a $4 trillion market cap company with playing with huge gobs of funny money floating around between 12 different corporations. It's they are in that game, just not to the extent that Nvidia is, and so they might not have the resources to make that kind of thing happen. Um, but
but
still,
but AMD with look, AMD, you've made enough money off of people.
yeah,
Provide support.
yeah,
End of story.
yep.
And you pulling this off makes you look like a bunch of turds.
Well,
Because you
yeah,
know what? If that's what you really are trying, if that's what this is, because I'll say this, it is.
yeah.
It absolutely is. Well, we're going to have a different upgrade path for these older cards. Guys, listen to that statement.
Yeah.
We're going to have a different path for them. A
So,
slower path, not so current path, maybe not getting all those update path.
Right. So
That's
my
what they're saying.
7900
So,
XTX, my 7900 XTX is going to get put on that bandwagon next year. Got it. Thanks, AMD. I guess I'm switching to NVIDIA
so
next time.
I mean, no, I mean that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I had 6,000 series. I've had 7,000 series. I've
Mhm.
had eight. I've got a 9,000 series.
You almost said
In
8000
all,
series.
I did. I almost did. I almost got the 395 AI, but um, what's frustrating here is that if that's how this is, I'll make a point because what happens for me is that typically speaking, my hardware gets passed down.
Mm-hmm.
And so longevity is something that I am that's important to me.
Yeah.
And you know, if that's what this is, then I have to take a look at it and say, you know what, I'm gonna look at it and be like, you know what, it's 20% more for the Nvidia equivalent,
Mm-hmm.
but that's going to last me an extra 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
That you sit there and say the use case of that is like, yeah, for 30, yeah, if I told you you were going to spend $30,000 for a truck, or you could spend $40,000 for a truck, and the difference is one's going to last you 3 years and one's going to last you 9 years. I bet you the vast majority of people would buy the truck that's going to last you 9 years.
Yep.
And I think that's the problem is that, we're looking at, I mean, not even 5 years, yet the direct competitor here is providing support, both technical, driver updates, game support, and AMD's like, get rid of it.
Yeah. I could see the argument if
I mean, when
AMD
did
had
five?
launched the
When did
10
the?
series.
Let's see. What is RX 50?
The
Uh,
5800, I want to say that was 2017, 2018.
oh, that was a 580, right?
No. The 580 was Vega. That was that generation. It wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't Vega itself.
Okay, it
But it
was
was, it was
2019.
pre-RDNA.
RX Vega. It was 2019,
Yeah.
and then
And the five people that
our
bought that.
yeah. Well, apparently it was really really popular because it was a good card with lots of VRAM.
Yeah.
So if you had the use case of understanding how important VRAM was, then you bought that card.
Right.
And then the 6,000 series would really kind of put them on a map. And you know, if you came out and said, look, the architecture that supports from RDNA 1 is so outdated that we're going to have fewer updates of this because it doesn't have the same language, and the drivers have to be kind of specific for it.
Yeah.
You sit there and say, I don't think a lot of gamers would be really upset. I think that the notion is the 6,000 series is really upsetting, even for me,
Yeah.
because it was like, dude, I mean, legitimately, I had a 6,000 series before I went to, and even then, I'd make the argument that my 6950, in some respects, better than my 9070.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my 6800 or 6900 XT that I gave to my friend is still a solid player. It runs games just fine. And there really is no excuse other than they just want to pull the plug. And okay, AMD, if you're going to play the game that way, Nvidia gives me a decade of support. And even then, you still get all the performance out of it. I mean, that's the thing. The thing that really frosts me here is most of the processor graphics that AMD ships currently, even in desktop and in mobile, is based on RDNA 2. we're talking products that have just barely been released too, like the Ally X. Are you not going to get driver updates for your Ally X now because it's a Windows machine? You need that.
Let's
And
flip this
what
away
about the
real
Linux
quick.
support?
Let's think about this. Let's look at the last round of like the 7000 series,
Yeah.
right? The 7900 XTX and the 7900 XT. Okay. When those cards were coming out and brand new, the notion is that you were getting far more VRAM, okay, at a good performance level, although it wasn't competing at the 90 series.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have this card that had more VRAM that was a good value proposition, better VRAM capacity, and the notion and what everyone was saying is this is a card that's going to age well.
Mm-hmm.
AMD just shot that statement right in the head and said, no, we're not going to let it age well. We're in fact going to bury it. And
Yeah.
the notion is that if AMD doesn't come out and just be like, and make a statement and say, this is what we're doing, and say, this was wrong, they're, they weren't on a very good trajectory beforehand. They were never competing at the really high levels. The
Yeah.
9070 looked to be like it was a step in the right direction. But I'll say this: I'll have to really think twice about another AMD card. I'll
Yeah.
have to admit I'm really kind of hacked off
Oh, me
because
too.
in all honesty, as bad as Nvidia is, this is probably worse. This is worse than some bad drivers. This is worse than gimping and having less. At least when you bought a 12 gigabyte card that you bought a 12 gigabyte video card.
Yep.
And that it's not great.
And at least when you got terrible hashing performance on your 3060,
But you
3070,
knew that, like,
3080,
it wasn't hidden.
it was on the
And
box. Like they put it on the box. Yeah.
and this is almost, I mean, I don't think it's as bad as just bricking your card,
No.
but without driver updates, like, you're not going to be getting preferred premium performance.
No.
And that's the thing that angers me.
Yeah.
Is that you sit there and say these cards are for longevity. Guys, you have to support this longer than Nvidia.
Mm-hmm.
Which means the 9 years that the 1080 Ti and the 10 series has been out, that's the minimum.
Yep.
You must to go longer than that, because the people who bought your cards bought them with the notion that these are going to be long-term cards. And it goes very true, because where was AMD, and still is, where is AMD selling cards? Budget gamers.
Mm-hmm.
The 9070 is targeted to budget gamers who aren't going to upgrade every time around. They're going to upgrade once every couple of years.
Yep.
The 9070 fits that to a T.
And they're going to sell that card.
If you're pulling support from those cards, all you're going to do is you're going to piss them off. You're going to absolutely piss off your fan base. And if you really want to if you want to make your market share go lower, you do crap like this.
Yep.
Because the truth of the matter is that if you sat there and said, hey, how is this going to work?
It doesn't. It just doesn't. And I mean, in a lot of ways, this kind of reminds me of the crypto scammer rug pulls that they get, that people get got with, because it's like, oh yeah, here's this great new thing, and get it because it's the new thing, and then you get it expecting past performance to at least be an indicator of future behavior, and no, they're just gonna stick it to you. So AMD, y'all gotta straighten up and fly right, because this crap ain't gonna fly, and it especially ain't gonna fly when you start dealing with your commercial customers, because there are commercial customers that have RDNA 2 cards. I guarantee it. And I would bet you they are kind of hacked off that this stuff's going on. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I won't say because we're trying to keep this relatively family friendly. But if you're looking for more spicy commentary, take a look at Gamers Nexus video because Steve just goes off on them big time, deservedly so. AMD has been dropping the ball with their marketing left, right, and center, and this is
But
just
even then,
another
like this
example of
isn't
it.
marketing. Like someone said, someone in there came out and said, we're good with support this far out.
Yeah. Well,
And
and with
and
the,
then this is beyond marketing because marketing is people who are selling this. This is support after the fact.
mhm,
And my problem and my concern here is that it brings up really good questions. So does that mean if I have a 5800X 3D that I'm no longer going to get support?
yeah,
I
probably.
mean, I don't have a
Well,
GPU on it, but that's the question. Say, does that mean that I'm not going to get driver updates?
yeah,
If
what's
does
going to
that mean
happen?
that what happens if there's a vulnerability that comes out for you know AM4 CPU sockets? Is AMD just like, well, those are legacy things and you don't get any support for them?
Yeah.
Because if so, that'll push me back over to Intel.
Yeah,
I mean, if that's the level of
same.
support that we think we're going to get, then that's fine. We'll just go back to how it was before, and we'll just go back to Intel processors and NVIDIA graphics cards, and AMD can shove it. I
Yep.
mean, I'm dead serious about this. Like, guys, you gotta have to take this for what it is. They're trying to kill off products before they've even sold them because it
Yeah.
costs money to support them. They don't want to do that. They don't want to support you. That's the problem I have with this. And people are like, and I think that there are plenty of people out there who get it, but the problem that we have here is that companies don't get it.
Mhm.
It's a number to them that they're going to say, well, we're going to save X number of dollars. Great. That's fine. Just means you won't get my money next time around.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and that's the game Nvidia played with light hash rate, with all the other crap that they pulled, and then driving the cost of GPUs through the roof because they could get away with it. And that's why I went with AMD. Now that AMD is playing a similar game, well, okay. My only other choice is Nvidia because Intel's not doing a damn thing in the market.
I
And
know that's the
so,
that's
you
the
know,
that's the scary part about all of this is that
yeah. I mean, pretty soon we're going to be
it's
down to one GPU vendor.
well, it's going to be between Dumb and Dumber,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
and unfortunately for me, and this for me is a big topic. As much as we might sit there and say how important this is, I'm sorry, long-term product longevity is important. Because my 1080 Ti, I don't own it, but I'm still using it, and it's actually being used.
Yep.
And so for me, longevity is important, and it's something that it's going to make change. I'm going to vote with my dollars, and at this point, even I'll have to say this: even if they did come out and say, okay, we kind of screwed this up, I
I'm going to
I
remember
don't
this.
know. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's going to be enough.
Yeah. You have to ask
I
yourself, do you trust
question.
them?
No, I'm dead serious on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Because because the thing about for me is I look at this and it makes me question like what their real motive here is.
Hmm.
And the notion that they don't want to support gamers and they don't want to support me as an owner, and that's just such a slap in the face.
Yeah. I mean, to do this with the 5000 and 6000 series when the 6000 series itself is only 2 generations back
Well,
is ridiculous. Now, if they had waited to do this and said, "Okay, look, we just have to end of life the 6000 series because it's just too old," after releasing the 10,000 cards, the RDNA 5/UDNA, whatever it's going to be, I would have been annoyed, but I would have had significantly less problem with that because there would be a significant enough generational performance leap to say, okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense, and the architecture is radically different. So, okay, we can go with it, but come on, guys. But
So
they didn't. They
the other weird thing,
they didn't.
they didn't. The other weird thing, and this is what makes me like, I would love to hear the process or lack thereof of them understanding what the heck they're doing, because they also in that release said that they were disabling USB charging on RDNA 4 and 3. I mean 3 and 2, because RDNA 4 doesn't have USB-C. So they
Yeah,
were
and my
like,
RDNA 2
if
didn't
you
have it.
want to use that, if for whatever reason you use your graphics card to charge your phone or something else,
Or
I
yeah, I think that was
whatever.
initially set up for like VR or something. But
Yeah,
yeah.
it was there for VR. But if you had one of these cards, now the notion is that, and I know this for a fact, is that the USB-C was primarily on their cards,
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah, because
Radeon cards.
I didn't have one on my
Power Color didn't have
Power
them.
Color or my Sapphire.
Most of them didn't.
Yeah,
Most of them didn't. But
which is kind of
both of
frustrating, but you know,
my
eh.
6800 XT had it. My 6950 XT had it, and my 7900 XTX all had it. Okay, um, they were great. And it was a nice little thing to have. It wasn't something that I relied on. But if you had an older system that didn't have USB-C for whatever reason, it was nice to have that, because it
Yeah.
was a USB 3 and it was USB-C, and it had, I think it was like, you could do like 27 or 30 watts of power charging. And they're like, no, that's done too. I'm like,
And then they
so,
retract it.
and then they retract it. It's like, so is anybody looking at this? Like, and is it the only reason that you're pulling this back because people got upset?
The only
Because I
reason
think that might be what it is. It's like,
yeah,
well, okay, we had to pull this back because people are upset.
the
Sorry,
only
guys, you shouldn't do dumb shit.
yeah, the only reason I don't think that this release was done by AI, this press release, is simply because we don't have the M dash in there. But all of this smacks of like AI making a stupid decision to kill a product. Because I mean, for a human to make that kind of call, uh, I, I have to ask, AMD, are you dumb? Are you dumb?
No.
Like, come on, guys. I'm not gonna rip my 7900 XTX out of my system, but boy, oh boy, are you making that 5090 look tempting.
Well, the problem is that for right now, and they're doing this right as we're talking about the Super Series. So we're
Yeah.
going to have a 5080 Super that's going to launch, most likely after the beginning of the year.
Mhm.
Um, and I'll have to admit, at that performance, and given it's where we expect to see pricing, that's an appealing upgrade at this point for me.
Yeah, it's
Um,
it's it's certainly tempting. I mean, I'm gonna hold out for NVIDIA's 6000 series and AMD's 10,000 series just to see what comes next. But
it definitely puts a
AMD,
damper on this. I mean, that's the
yeah,
problem is that the CPU side, the the Ryzen um, CPU side, I don't feel like that. But then you sit there and say, well, if that's what they're doing on the graphics side, what's stopping them from doing that to us?
but they are doing it on the CPU side because
That's
they're
it.
also end of lifing the CPU graphics drivers.
which is
because your processor graphics rely on the same drivers that power RDNA 2, and like
dumb.
if you do something like I do, that it actually this issue this press release explains why I've been having weird blue screens the last couple weeks, because I power my TV and my primary gaming monitor off of my 7900 XTX, but everything else is connected to my processor graphics so that the workload's offloaded there. And it's, if my TV shuts off, if I shut off my TV without unplugging it from my desktop right now, my system will not blue screen. It will show me a corrupted black screen of death on the processor graphics. So something is going on with this 2510-2 and RDNA 2 that is causing these drivers to fail horribly. So there's something going on here, and I have a feeling that they're like, okay, well, we couldn't get this driver to work right with RDNA 2, so we're just going to end of life RDNA 2. Oh, we completely forgot that all of our current CPUs that we're selling brand new right now have that GPU in them. So come on, guys, get your crap together. You can do better than this. You have done better than this. And, I have no words beyond that, because I'm frustrated, and I will be remembering this come hardware, come time to refresh my hardware, because AMD just proved that we can't trust them on the Radeon side. So what do we do? Maybe I'll buy an Intel CPU with NVIDIA graphics on it.
Well, apparently that's what AMD wants you to do.
That's what it sounds like. And on that bombshell, maybe we'll call it a show for this evening. Thank you much for giving us a piece of your time and listening to two old farts rant about graphics cards. So until next time, thank you all, and have fun storming that castle.
Good night, everybody. Take care.
Good night.